Hello, I'm Madison Rich, and this is UCC Talk 24. Here on this channel, we're all about the UCC, public and private rights, giving people information and knowledge to enrich themselves. So today, I'm here with my co-host, Shatik Ferguson, and we're going to talk about Trump versus Don King. Who is the biggest tax cheater? Alright, so we're going to get into both of these cases on how they have evaded paying federal income tax. And we're going to dive deep into the two cases, touching on how they've been able to evade paying taxes.
So we're going to get into this little clip and let them just get a little refresh on what exactly it is we're talking about.
And one thing about the UCC Talk 24, we pay close attention to certain keywords, and we're trained to understand it from a Commerce Code perspective. So we'll be stopping the video every now and then to break down certain key terms.
Of DC reporter's most recent book, titled The Big Cheat, How Donald Trump Fleeced America and Enriched Himself and His Family, also wrote Perfectly Legal, the covert campaign to rig our tax system to benefit the super rich and cheat everybody else. David, welcome back to Democracy Now! It's great to have you with us. Talk about what you found most significant, what you were most surprised by in these latest tax releases.
Well, that Donald used a number of legal devices to reduce taxes is no surprise, but he did something absolutely brazen, and that requires we go back to 1984. That was the year Trump Tower was selling apartments like crazy and his first casino opened, so he had Amazons of cash flowing into his pockets. He filed a tax return that included something called a Schedule C. That's what freelancers use. It's what I use for my book writing business. And on it, he showed no revenue, but over $600,000 of expenses. Auditors from the city of New York and the state of New York spotted that, disallowed it. Trump demanded trials. He lost both. The judges wrote scathing opinions about what he was doing. So what turns up in these 6 years of tax returns? Well, he filed 65 of Schedule C's. 26 of them had zero revenue and hundreds of thousands of dollars in expenses. There were a handful of others where the income and the expenses exactly to the dollar equaled out, which is impossible to believe is anything but manipulation. For those 26 returns where he was on notice that it's illegal to create a fictitious business and take deductions, he could easily be prosecuted, either by the federal government or Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan District Attorney, for cheating on state taxes the same way. And that, I think, is the most brazen thing in there.
Okay, now we're going to switch over to Don King, where you see that they have some of the same similarities. So as we scroll down, so as you take your time out to read, Don King, the boxing promoter, was acquitted yesterday of charges that he had evaded income taxes on hundreds of thousands of dollars that he had been accused of skimming from his company, Don King Productions.
Yeah, so that's amazing. Both of these guys have learned how to evade the tax code system.
Because they know in order right now, if they wanted to prosecute Don King or Donald Trump for that matter, right? They know for a fact he's not the one filling out his tax papers. They know he has professionals that's supposed to be doing whatever they're supposed to be doing.
That's right.
And in order to honestly get a conviction on Donald Trump, you gotta say he knowingly participated, right, in defrauding the United States government. Right.
Yeah, because he's not going to be held liable on any tax liability anyway, because his CFO is doing the tax on.
And not only that, if you notice, even you refer it back to Don King's case, whereas although he was even prosecuted, right? But he didn't go down, right? His person that actually did the paperwork, that was involved in making sure the paperwork was done to its perfection, that's the person.
Right. So his co-defendant, Don King, his co-defendant got convicted. They both
Harper.
went to trial, right? Not Miss Harper. I think it might have been.
Yes, Miss Harper.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so basically, he basically got out of it by saying that he was unsophisticated in handling tax matters, right? And he didn't realize that he was not paying taxes that would do. So
because he's not responsible, and his argument, his defensive argument was that he thought the proper paperwork
was filed.
Period.
Because I had my CFO, my accountant filing all the paperwork.
And that's in the good faith clause. You know what I'm saying? So because you are, this is your paid job, right? You are that they use, right? It's totally illegal, and they defrauded the United States government because every number is matching number for number, even down to the grocery list,
right?
Which they think is almost impossible.
So basically, and also in Don King's case, is that basically he just failed to report certain monies that he got off of the casino after the fights, right? So he failed to report $446,200 in income he received from 1978 to 1980. So that's everything with the government and the IRS. Is their big issue is that monies are not accounted for. That's why they call it an account, because each transaction is supposed to be accounted for and what purpose it was used for. Right, so CPAs can use the appropriate tax codes in order to get tax deductions through depreciation and amortization.
And also let's not forget the fact that Trump also fought for that bill to be passed in 1992. Whereas if you own any type
use the appropriate tax codes in order to get tax deductions through depreciation and amortization.
And also let's not forget the fact that Trump also fought for that bill to be passed in 1992, whereas if you own any type of real estate, then you got taxed differently or some. That's paraphrasing. I'm not.
Yeah. That was a bill that he lobbied to pass. Yeah, and I think it was 1992, where if you basically lived off of your real estate investments, right? You had other income, but there was small cash flow income, right? That you can get tax write-off if you have losses throughout the year. That you can get tax write-offs, and that's also through companies that you have started. You can use those companies to offset income that you got through your other business ventures. Because, like they said in the news piece about Trump, that basically, right. Basically, what he did was just offset his tax liability, right? So he would make a couple $100 million from his TV show endorsements, right? But he didn't have to pay any taxes on it because there was other companies where he reported income or net losses. He was able to offset the tax liability.
Absolutely, with whatever he was making from his television.
Right, but those types, they're saying that he cheated. But he has tax professionals and CPAs that do the paperwork for him. So it's not like he could be held liable on a tax return, because you see right here in this case, all he would have to say is that he's unsophisticated in handling these type of complex tax matters, and he even says that these tax loopholes are very complex. So if they're very complex, a layman person wouldn't be able to interpret it and know how to apply it. So he would never be convicted of any type of tax return fraud.
But what they're trying to expose is the fact that he knows that some type of
they're
fraud
basically trying to show that he's manipulating the system, like purposefully, and you have to at least try to make a profit for your company. So that's the whole thing. If the IRS sees that your company is not making money for over 5 years, that's something that they're going to be looking at, because you have to at least try to make a profit, even though businesses do have expenses and things like that. The financial conditions change and the like in that matter.
And we gotta look at the fact that he's also been audited, you know, and in an IRS audit, they didn't find anything that they can hold him accountable for. Now these same issues have resurfaced over and over again when it comes to the likes of Donald Trump and Don King, yet and still they still have an immaculate defense, you know, that can help them to get around these type of situations. So then you gotta reverse back to the fact that these forms that are being filled out, right, are being done so meticulous, right, that even an audit can't find any scrutiny, right, that even an audit can't find any scrutiny, right, and because of that, they saying that this process that he's using is ironclad, right, and if this process is ironclad, then how come everybody's not using it, or is he one of the people that are just the chosen few? Because they, like this guy right here says that, you know, you can't just be no regular one house owning type of individual where you're going to reap the benefits of, you know what I'm saying,
these large tax deductions.
Absolutely. Right. But you gotta be playing on a massive level.
He said esoteric. I heard this guy say throughout this video. He says that these are esoteric, and I'm thinking like, wow, that means hidden. So that means there's a hidden type of code. You know what I'm saying, that they're using. And then he
leads to
that they're using. And
then he leads to say that basically he's doing foreign business, whereas he's doing he's satisfying the foreign taxes, international taxes, cross these taxes. You get what I'm saying? And however they're using to hide whatever it is he's doing.
Yeah, so these are basically very sophisticated tactics that these guys are using. That's the reason why I was saying before that you have to know how to employ your agents. You should have a CFO, right, that's going to be doing your taxes for you, and you direct them on how you want everything depreciated and how you want your
pay attention to
everything to look based on the receipts that you are turning.
Absolutely, pay attention to how he interacts in commerce. You know, pay attention to the loopholes that he used to make sure he has some type of secured interest. Take note to the fact that although his companies are doing bad, right, he's still surviving off that debt, right? Because
he's living off of the debt.
He knows how to level out the playing field, if you know what I mean. You know, so what he did and how he manipulated his earnings through his TV show, right, to offset the what did not come in through his other companies was brilliant. Now, to say that he came up with that concept, who knows? And if that's why the government keeps attacking him, because they believe that he knows how to implement and how to defraud the system.
Because he helped lobby for the exact law that he's basically he's manipulating.
Exactly.
That's crazy, right? He's brilliant. He basically passed the law that he's going to directly benefit from. And that's basically what lobbyists do. They basically lobby Congress. People give these lobbyists millions of dollars, right? They basically Washington insiders, right? And they lobby Congress and the Senate to pass certain bills.
That's going to benefit them in the long run.
And that's exactly what he did in office also. He also passed tax laws that he basically directly benefited off of.
And then that opens up a can of worms of how many people that are involved in high stakes real estate, right, is actually hiding and benefit off this same exact law.
And you know something else too, in the Don King article, it was basically saying that he didn't show the receipts. See, the receipts are very important because everything has to be accounted for, and that's basically what accounting is. It's basically the recording of financial transactions in the company. And all transactions must be filed.
And he used the casinos to do it because his events was at the casino, so he would get already cash bonuses, upfront cash, right, based off of what the event is going to make. Right? So if you take upfront cash, if I take $440,000, right, cash money off an event that might gross in $700 million, right, and I report to $700 million, right, that's only what you see on paper. You get what I'm saying? You don't know that I done went to the casino and took 400-something thousand cash. Not to say that that's what he took. I'm just figuratively speaking, but you don't know because you can't tax that cash money. I snatched that before that big check hit, so you can tax that, but you don't even know. I seen $500,000 cash out of that without you even, you know what I'm saying, being able to tax.
Yeah, and they're basically, the government's beef is going to be where are the receipts, where'd the money go? So.
And he's going to say, I didn't know. I figured that it was going to come out of the deal. I'm assuming that because, you get what I'm saying? These people are the people that take care of that paperwork.
That's right.
His fight is, I've been doing this forever. And if you notice, it has where he went from this casino to this casino to this casino. You get
Don King, right?
Absolutely, because he knew what he was doing. Same way with everybody else who uses loopholes, right? And this is done, and this being done right in your face.
But I think the problem too, though, see, we're all about the UCC understanding the Commerce Code. So I think Don King's problem is that he didn't discharge his debt on the private side before he did it to the public. What do you think?
I think Don King knew exactly what he was doing. I just know that in order to do business for that main event, that all came in paperwork, right? So they're looking at the event and what's going to be given after everything is done, right? Not knowing that Don King got an account where, you know what I'm saying, got an understanding with these casinos where they might say, you know what I'm saying, we know we getting this certain amount at the end, take 400,000. So when that check clear for like 18 million, 20 million, or whatever the case is, you get what I'm saying? Now they don't have a receipt that you have already got 400-something thousand from it. So when they cash this in, now you receive that and you don't get taxed for this. You get what I'm saying? So I think it was strategic. I don't think that it was done accidentally.
But really, what he did was an owner's draw, because he was the sole shareholder in his corporation. I think it was Don King Productions. He was the sole shareholder, but the problem was he didn't report the receipts on the income.
Because he's smart. He's not. It's not like he's drawing from the account and he's saying, yo, take something and have it forwarded to this account. You know what I'm saying? So they can monitor what he gets and what he doesn't get. You get what I'm saying? He made sure he went to the window and said, I need 77,000. I need 96,000 cash. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry, I give it back to you when this clear. Because I'm going to get all of mine from there.
Right.
I'm going to get all mine back. I'll give it back to you. You get what I'm saying?
But you know the ill thing though, I think a lot of people don't know also, these are tax bills, you know, a lot of people don't know, that's the money that they owe you really. That's the secret, really. Is that when they send you a tax bill and it has your all caps trade name, technically it's your personal property. You can accept that and you can file that as your personal property.
Absolutely.
It has your trade name on it. That's something that they don't even know. If they did, he sure wouldn't have went to trial. He shouldn't even went to trial for tax evasion if you knew that part. That these tax bills are your personal liability because technically there is no lawful money. There's only the discharge of debt. And as you see, Donald Trump has learned very well on how to live on debt. And that's what we teach. We teach basically how to live off debt, right? But at the same time, maintain your cash flow. Because even Donald Trump, the assets that he's taking loans out of, they are high valued assets. A lot of those, those real estate investments. So they do hold value.
And I'm pretty sure he made sure he has a secured interest in the assets so that when he needs
he's able to use it as collateral and get loans and make flips.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So the real estate game is definitely where you should have a couple assets in your portfolio. That is very important that you get into the real estate game because real estate has made more millionaires in history.
Absolutely.
Than any other sector, more than the stock market, real estate beats them out. You understand? So this is UCC Talk 24. You're all about the UCC, public and private rights, and we will be back with more videos. Like and subscribe for another video on debt discharge, which will be the next video. Have a good one.